Good day, sir. As to the second topic of my presentation, this is taken from chapter 3 of our lesson, and this involves portfolios. To begin with, portfolios were popular in the 1990s, but their use decreased. This involved concerns about reliability and the growing importance of large-scale accountability tests. However, they are making a comeback. Exciting and engaging digital possibilities, as well as an increase in the scrutiny on basing teacher evaluation on students' academic progress made this possible. So the latter is specifically important because, as we know, learners are diverse in nature, not only with their background, but also their approach and capabilities towards learning as well. So what are portfolios? Portfolios are prominently used in art, architecture, modeling, photography, and journalism. They document proficiency, skill, style, and talent with examples of the actual work. In education, a portfolio is a purposeful, systematic process of collecting and evaluating student performative and or summative assessments to document progress toward the attainment of learning targets. They are limited, meaningful collections of work. They include guidelines for the selection of contents, criteria for scoring, and student self-reflection. So as you can see, portfolios have been used in different fields of work, specifically on art, architecture, photography, and journalism. They document the creator's work through showing their skill, style, and talent. In education, it is an indispensable tool not only for the evaluators or teachers, but as well as for the learners as well, because it's a collection of their learning progress with proofs of the results of their assessments. It can be used towards self-reflection and can help the learner modify his approach or strategy toward learning. And for the teachers, it can also be a great tool for them to gauge the effectiveness of their strategy towards teaching. Next slide. So an effective portfolio is purposeful. It is systematic and well organized. It contains meaningful work. It has pre-established guidelines. It engages students in selection, evaluation, and reflection. It motivates students. It also documents progress based on clear, well-specified scoring criteria. So, scoring criteria must, of course, be specifically and clearly defined, not only to guide teachers towards grading or evaluation, but also to guide learners in their approach towards the creation of or a collection of portfolio as well. Of course, the purpose has to be stated at the beginning. It must also be systematic and well organized, since it would be a documentation towards the learner's progress. Next slide. So here are characteristics of effective portfolios. So the clearly defined purpose aligned with learning targets, standards, and 21st century skills. Systematically organized collection of student work products. High student engagement and motivation. Individualized student artifacts. Pre-established guidelines used to establish contents. Some student selection of contents. Student self-reflection. Clear and appropriate criteria for evaluating student products. Conferences held between students and teachers to review and evaluate. So, as I said earlier, portfolios are also effective tools to improve the teaching learning process. There are two major types of portfolios. The first type is the documentation portfolio. It shows student work that illustrates achievement. The second is the growth portfolio. This reveals change in student proficiency over time. So as for the examples of the different types of portfolios, these are shown in the table flashed on the screen. So as for the type, documentation celebration, it shows students' best work. Examples of these are the highest scored test, highest graded paper, and best project. Second type is competence. It shows levels of achievement reached in relation to learning targets. Examples are mastery of each competence needed to do electrical work. Next is documentation centered on project. It illustrates competence on completion of a single task. Examples are history unit final presentation and a small group project on identifying chemicals in a water sample. The next type is growth. It shows improvement of student competence over time. Examples of writing that show differences in skill, and drawings from the first part of the semester to the last week of the semester. And that concludes my presentation.